Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows from shows ranging from the 90s to today.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany,
And I'm Cynthia.
and today we're talking about season 5, episode 15, titled Downtown Crossing, air date February 13th, 2002, and the synopsis is
In a continuation from the previous episode, Joey is robbed at gunpoint by a mugger, but the robber ends up getting run over by a car minutes after the mugging. Instead of calling the police, she stands by her aggressor, trying to get an ambulance to get him to the hospital. There, Joey meets the guy's estranged wife, Grace, and her young daughter, Sammy, in the hospital waiting area.
ugh, this episode.
Yeah, so we saw her last episode walking just by herself at night, and now we see her getting money out of the ATM. And there's a guy already outside watching her. And she calls Wilder, or David, as he wants her to call him, just to tell him that she's on her way over,
I
even
didn't
though it's
know
late.
that I didn't know
Yeah.
that was his first name. Did you?
Yeah. No, I don't think it was ever mentioned until this episode here. And then it was never mentioned again, too. But yeah, so the guy's outside and he did try getting in, but the door was locked. So he had to wait.
Yeah,
And
so
then,
why is she inside getting money and the door's locked?
um, I don't know. I was thinking, because I know some doors probably like lock after you walk in from the outside, but I don't know.
They do? Well, then
Well,
he should have been able to get in.
I mean, from the it locks from the outside. I mean, from the inside. I mean, so no one can come in. I don't. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
but
like
she got in.
maybe it's locked after a certain
Time.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like 9 o'clock or something.
yeah, and then she can walk out still. But when it closes again, it's locked. I'm guessing. It's hard to tell because I don't even know what building this is. It just shows her at the ATM. So
Yeah, and shouldn't it be close? Like, there's no one on the streets.
right.
Like, what is she doing out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then when she's walking outside the sidewalk, he's following her at the same pace across the street on the other sidewalk. And then out of nowhere, he just like pops up in front of her. That actually scared me a little bit because
Well,
I wasn't expecting it.
and then she was like, I just want to go home. And he's like, where's home? And it's like, definitely don't tell him where home is.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the one thing you don't say is where you live.
Hmm.
And then you know what was weird though? Is like she was, kept walking and stuff. Like, I just want to go home and stuff. Like, I really hope, like, if he would have just kept following her, I really hope she wouldn't have went there, like, to where she
Hmm.
lives.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't do
Hmm.
that. You
Yeah.
you never show the person where you live.
Yeah. She should have just walked toward the police
Police
station.
station, yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Safest place. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, in my head, I was like, is she really gonna just keep walking with him right
Hmm.
there
Yeah.
to her dorm?
Right.
Like, no, you don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Like, Joey,
security there,
think,
but
think,
still.
think,
Yeah.
think.
Hmm.
I know, but I
Yeah.
do wonder if the writers were making, like, because we didn't see it because everything else
Hmm.
happened, but it was like, I just wondered if she was really dumb enough to walk to her dorm or if she was going to go to, like, the police station. Because we
Right.
don't know, because she never said anything.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't like she was like whispering to herself, like, just get to the police station. Because, like, that would have been a good thing for us to know that she wasn't
Hmm.
dumb.
Yeah.
But her saying, I want to go home and keep walking and he's following you,
Hmm.
that sounds dumb to me.
Yeah.
Like, don't say that.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, in a small little breath where he couldn't hear you, it would have been nice for us to know that she's not stupid.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Hmm.
Because now, for the rest of eternity, we are going to be like, what was she really gonna do?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we don't know. They don't explain it.
Yeah. And then what I didn't like about him, well, besides the obvious, was just when he said that he wasn't well, at first he said he wasn't going to mug her or force himself on her because he can get his own dates. Like, I didn't like the way he said that.
I didn't like anything about him. He's
I know,
creepy.
I know, but that was just like bringing it up to the next level.
Oh, well, then he said, well, then at some point he asked if she had a boyfriend, if she's ever had a boyfriend. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is
Creepy.
just weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like at first he was trying to like be like not so aggressive with her because at first he asked to borrow money from her and then she said no, of course. And the guy goes ranting like that's what's wrong with the world. No one is willing to help you when you make yourself vulnerable. And yeah, so he just keeps following her and offers to
Well,
even
and
walk her home.
then he said, like the next guy, he might not be as nice as me.
Right.
Oh my,
Yeah.
like this is just
Mm-hmm.
turning so weird.
Yeah. And then he does let her walk a couple steps away until he stops her again and says he's given it some more thought and he'd rather have her lend the money. So then that's when he moves one side of his coat and lifts his shirt up to reveal the handle of a handheld gun in the waist of his pants. That's when Joey knows that he's serious. And then the title of the show is shown with the actors' names over like a dark sky with clouds with like an instrumental instead of the usual theme song to make, I guess,
Hmm.
like more creepy. Because it would have been weird if they did have the other theme song anyhow, like all bright and cheery, and then we go back to this again. So I get why they did that.
But I have a question. Why was this episode on like aired on February 13th?
You mean the day before Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
That's just the day of the week it landed on. Yeah.
Like
Because,
no, but you know the writers know when every episode airs.
hmm
You know what I mean? You can plan for this to be a week before. You can plan like I don't know why they like what in their heads did they think this was a good episode right before Valentine's Day?
yeah, I know.
Like, really? You want your audience to be depressed
hmm
and upset? Like, I don't get their thoughts. Like, you don't they clearly have not planned at the any part of season 5. Think of season 5 so far. What have they really planned? Nothing. Nothing
Well,
has been like thought out.
well, I think too, just because like at this point in the show, there's only like how many couples? We got Dawson and Jen, and
That's it.
then
Oh yeah,
um,
that new one
I mean,
starting
kind
Pacey
of,
and
yeah, kind of
Audrey.
Pacey and Audrey. So that would be the only
Two.
couples that the Valentine episode could really revolve around. So I guess they just saw it better as to only have Joey in this one than versus just four of them. I guess I don't know.
No, because you could have done Joey and Wilder going on their first
Oh,
date or something.
yeah.
I mean, apparently that's where she was supposed to be anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just I know, but you could have done something fun with like college themed for Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the girls don't have dates and this and that, like people do in shows. You
Right.
know, if their characters don't have dates, they still have Valentine's Day episodes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you think in college they don't have something,
Right.
for Valentine's Day? Like, it's just weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure even in 2002, they still had Valentine's Day themed things to do. So it's just weird how Dawson's Creek is not doing it. They're not doing the college life that I would expect them to do that other shows have done and have done it well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then right now the season was airing on Wednesdays, so Valentine's Day was on a Thursday that year. So yeah, I don't know about the timing, if they were able to plan that out ahead of time, how much far along they were. Yeah, so we come back to having the guy point the gun at Joey's chest and he pulls Joey to a corner so they're not out in the open, I guess.
Like anybody was even there to watch.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then
who, nobody else was in the street. It was just the two of them.
I know. And Joey tells him she has nothing to give him, but he knows she just left the ATM machine. And he asks where she goes to college, and she actually tells him Worthington. Um,
Dumb, dumb,
yeah,
dumb.
but doesn't make her any less broke. He says he has no intention of using his gun. Joey doesn't believe it when he said he had no intention, since he said that he had no intention of mugging her 5 minutes ago. So,
Well, because then she was like, well, I only have $27. And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, well, like in his head, he's like, cool, I'll just take the $27. But then, of course, he looks and it's 47 or 49, whatever. And then, of course, he goes to her savings
Mm-hmm.
and it's $507.
Yeah.
So, of course, he wants that too.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
But bef
I have a question for you.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where in the world did she get all this money?
I don't know. She's not working, so
Yeah, she's not working, and like Bess is gonna just send her $500.
maybe it's possibly money left over from Dawson from giving her the money for college. Maybe. I don't know.
I thought he was only paying for her college. I didn't know he was paying for her living, like for her to live day to day.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was savings from working at the yacht club, maybe. I don't know.
But wouldn't you have put that towards paying for your college
Yeah.
and then also using a little bit of Dawson's money?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
Like
don't know.
I wouldn't just like make Dawson pay for all of it. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I'd be like,
Yeah.
well, I have some saved away.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird. I'm like, where is she getting this money? She's not working.
Right.
And she doesn't have a boyfriend that's like handing her money. So I don't get
Mm-hmm.
where she has money,
Yeah.
especially $500.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but before that, Joey was pushing it by asking if there's any chance that the gun could go off inside his pants, because that would be really great. Like everything she was saying and basically doing was the opposite of what you should do, because that could really make someone angry to, pull the trigger on her. Because he does push her
Um,
against the wall after that.
well, because then she was all worried about him taking the $500, because we all know she's poor, even though I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how she got the 500. And then he said, "Oh, it's okay, rich little girl or rich little college girl. Your daddy will just put the money back in your account."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, ugh. First of all, she's not rich, but okay.
Yeah. And then before that too, he asked for her cell phone and she says no. And then he says he can pat her down because that would be fun. So she hands him her cell phone. He's happy and asks if he can, and she said that she hopes he gets a decent signal in prison and tells her to watch her tone. He says the phone is nice and asks if he can go on the internet. And at this moment, when he's distracted, Joey kicks him in the chest, or that's what it looked like at least. So then the phone goes sliding across the road where Joey picks it up and she starts running until the guy catches up to her and tackles her onto the ground. He has her pinned and he asks if she's crazy because how does she know that he's not going to kill her for that? And he hasn't made up his mind yet, though, he says.
Oh, by the way, at some point he brings up mugger muggy relationship. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what?
Yeah.
Like, who wrote this episode? This is so bad.
And then, yeah,
I'm sorry, but it is.
yeah. And then, once they're up, he asks for her name and she actually tells him, so giving information. And he
I
grabs his
mean,
cell phone
the only
again.
thing, but I will say she said Joey and not Potter.
Right. But how many Joeys could there be?
I
You know?
know because she said she was at Worthington. I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that the good thing is she only said Joey and not Potter too.
Mm-hmm. Unless he
Um,
saw her last name when he was in her account.
I'm sure he did. He was like, he still had his eye open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure
And
he
then
knows her account number
yeah, and then he told her
or her
that he
PIN, I mean.
yeah. And then he
Oh,
told her that,
oh, you know what okay. Then he has her phone,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know what he was doing, but he was like, "Can I go on the internet with this thing?" I What was
Yeah.
that even a thing in 2002?
Yeah.
That you can go on the
I don't know.
internet?
I don't know.
I
It's hard to
thought you
say.
can only text.
Well, I know when we were in middle school that was a thing. I don't know about before then.
Yeah,
So
but 2002, we were only
yeah.
in second grade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, was that a thing? I just wonder, I'm like, could you have gone on the internet when we were in second grade?
I don't know. Yeah, but he told
Well,
her that,
you're my little investigator when it comes to that.
yeah, no, I'm gonna look it up right now. But he did tell her that he liked her name because it's a boy's name for girls that he likes. And he really likes those. And that's when he gets her cards and gets her ATM card. And yeah. So then Joey says that he should get himself a job, and he says he does. He has one in sales and pharmaceuticals. And,
Which,
of course,
which is a throwback to when
mm-hmm,
she said that her dad was in pharmaceuticals to Mrs.
yep,
Valentine.
yep. So, of course, she knows what that means. And, uh, let's see. Well, she didn't bring it up yet, but, oh, and then, he says that, okay, yeah. So she knows what that means. So she's like, you're a drug dealer. And he said that some of his clients are at Worthington. Joey says he should stop by sometime so they can catch up. So she's just inviting him there now, apparently, this year. And then he says he likes her except for that little kung fu kick back there. But she's made this experience a pleasant one and says in another time and place they will make a good couple. And Joey tells him he must be dipping into a supply if he thinks that. And then he has the nerve to ask her if she's a virgin. And she asks if he could be any more of a dick right now, in which he responds that he could kill her or worse. Then he asks what to do for his girl that he's really mad at, that apparently now he brings up to, make it up to her because she's really mad at him right now. And then, she's like, someone actually dated you. He said, no, somebody actually married him. So she said she's sorry to hear that for her sake. And he asks, he says someone has to fall in love with the drug dealers of the world. And, and then they go on to say like, Joey says, I guess you're right. And even Hitler had a girlfriend. And he responds with, Eva Braun, she was one smitten kitten, which was weird. And then they go on about, getting his wife something like a nice gift. And, he tells Joey that her jacket's nice and forces her to hand it over. And even though it's freezing outside. And then he, I guess, for being nice, gives her back her scarf that she had and walks out.
Okay, so yeah, he lets her go. And then the best part, he gets hit by a car.
Yeah. Because he was still following her
Um,
when yeah.
but my
And he
thing
just
is
stopped him in
like,
the street. Hmm.
would you help him if he did it? Like if you were Joey, would you help him?
No.
Me either. I'd be running far, far away.
Yep.
Like, get the hell out of there.
Hmm.
But instead, she goes back, and yes, I would get my coat too, because it's got the money in it and stuff like that. And of course, and she reaches to in his pocket to get to get her cell phone. And then that's when he threw it because, he said, "Oh, you're only going to call the cops." And she's like, "Yeah, to get you some band-aids."
Yeah.
And and then he pulls out his gun and she was like, "Then shoot me." And then he never actually put any bullets in there
Yep.
because it clicked, but nothing happened. Um,
Hmm.
so anyway, she ends up calling the cops and helping him. And then she stayed with him. Man, girl, get out of there.
Right.
Like seriously.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, then they just sit there and talk. It's so weird.
Yeah, well, I thought it was funny how he tried to prove to her that he was fine, so he got up and then just only to fall back down. And then he was getting worse because he started bleeding more, I think.
And then when the ambulance comes,
Hmm.
then she falls to
Yeah,
the
faints,
ground.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
was like, what? Like, why?
Yeah. I was just shocked that finally had her caught up with her. But luckily the cop was already right there, so she didn't just like her she just didn't like completely like with her full weight just completely fall. He caught her and like helped her like kind of slowly go down. But yeah, 2001 was actually the first year that phones with the internet was starting to be available in the US. It was actually 96 in Finland when it was available there, not 2001 for us.
Interesting.
Hmm. But of course, then and years later, it was so expensive to be on there for even a minute. So a lot of people didn't even use it for the longest time anyhow. So,
No, because even when we were in high school,
hmm.
texting costs so much because every letter cost you. Remember?
Well, yeah,
That's
if you had
why that's why
unless you had a
people
smartphone.
that's why people would only like RU and
Mhm.
instead of actually typing out
Yeah.
the whole thing because it costs so much money to do every letter.
And then you had only a certain amount of characters too.
Yep. See, it costs so much for texting. I couldn't even imagine internet back then.
hmm
So yeah, then they go to the hospital and because they said she needed to get checked out too.
hmm
And like she finds out she's good, she can leave. But what does she do? She stays. I can't.
Yeah, only because she found Sammy in the
Who
hallway by herself.
cares?
But she was a little girl. She didn't want to like just leave her there unattended.
Okay, you give her to her mother and then you leave like a
Yeah.
normal person.
Yeah. Well, then Grace asked her if she could, help her and watch Sammy for another minute.
No,
Well, that's just the kind of
no.
person Joey is after
Bull
helping the
crap.
guy.
Bull
I
crap.
know.
Any normal person. Well, see, Joey's not normal because any normal person would leave.
hmm
I kind of want
Yeah,
to be
but
done with this episode, so.
yeah. Well, I just say like, before the ambulance, if they were starting to get close, they talked about their parents and having cancer, and that's why she doesn't smoke, but that didn't stop him and everything. So they just got really close for really no reason. I mean, they had the time, but still. But I think she was only talking to him to keep him conscious so he wouldn't, fall asleep and then die right there on the ground. And then yeah, so she's watching Sammy and um she already knew about his wife too because he told her about her before they got to the hospital. So now she's putting it together that that's exactly who they are because Sammy is another boy's name for a girl that he likes. So of course she puts the dots together, especially when Grace starts telling Joey about her husband and how she kicked him out about a month ago now. And that's what he told her too, that he was kicked out. So it was just easy to put the two and two together.
Well, plus he said he got hit by or plus she said he got hit by a car.
Yeah. Well, she said car accident because they wouldn't even tell her anything, which you think they would because they said that they didn't say they got a divorce, so she would have the right to know what's going on with him. But yeah. And then I'm scrolling through my notes. And then yeah, so he's in surgery. They don't know if he's gonna make
Well,
it.
and I really wish Joey, like when she was like acting like her incident, because like Joey was saying like, oh, I got mugged and stuff, and she wouldn't say who, even though Joey knew who it was, she still didn't say anything. And I was like, and then the girl, then the like, Grace, whatever her name was, like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, like I wanted Joey so much to be like, I got mugged by your husband. Like, I wanted her so much to say that at that point because like that she was driving me nuts, the wife.
Well, I think Joey just saw, wanted to be nice and saw how the wife, didn't really, she was mad at him for what he was doing and that's why she kicked him out and just how things are with Sammy, like raising her alone and everything and having a tough time with that. So I think Joey was just trying to break it to her gently about it being her husband that who mugged her.
Yeah, I just wanted some more action. That's all. I didn't
Mm.
get any. And then
And then
I didn't like when the nurse or whatever was like, he's asking for you. Oh my God, why? Like
hmm
just let the dude die, please.
and that was after Grace left with Sammy because she didn't want to see him after that, learning what he did to Joey. And then yeah, so he's conscious now and he wants to talk to Joey and they start talking about Joey's dad, like why he would do, what he did. So he tries to get this guy's point of view why he did what he did. And he just says that he, had bills to pay and that's kind of what her dad said too, Joey's. And because he did but really the real reason was that he had $500 for Sammy's daycare, but he instead used that money to go buy dope. So that's why he was trying to get the money from Joey to pay back his wife for that money. And he does love his wife and his daughter, but he is who he is. And says there's no reason why people do what they do, they just do. And Joey says if he really loved his daughter, he wouldn't do those things. And he says he does love her, it's just easier being stoned and he can't overcome every flaw. It's not possible. And then Joey tells him about her 10th birthday and everything, and how she learns later that the people at the park only liked him and wanted his attention and knew him because he was selling to them. That was still her favorite day ever. And he asks if his daughter would ever forgive him, um and well, that was before she told the 10th birthday party story. So she didn't really give him an answer to that, but after the story, he laughed and closed his eyes, and that's when the heart monitor went flat. And Joey already had a single tear falling down her cheek when he passed. I'm thinking she was crying about the story of her dad, not necessarily the guy dying, whose name we never got in this episode either. And then
He doesn't need a name.
yeah. And then because even on the IMD page, she's just listed as Joey's mugger too. And then yeah, so Joey finds Grace and tell her husband's passed away, and Sammy asks if her dad did something bad to Joey, but Joey says that her dad saved her from getting hit by a car. So he did something really nice for her. And, so Sammy hugs her mom and says that her dad's a hero. And Grace hugs Sammy with Grace facing Joey, who mouths thank you to her. And that's when Joey puts the money that she got back from the guy, that $500, in Grace's purse before she leaves after looking at the mom and daughter duo one more time.
Why?
Again, she just feels bad now that,
Why? He did it.
I know, I'm just saying, like, she knows she's probably struggling as a single mom, so
Who
she just
cares?
probably needs some
Joey's
money.
struggling as a college girl.
But that's just the kind of person she is. She just wants to
Nope.
give like that.
Now, what did you think this episode was about? Like, in regards to the season? Like, what point did I have?
No, yeah, I had no point, especially
No, it
since
was a
nothing.
waste. It was a whole
Yeah.
waste of an episode. I
Hmm.
feel like the writers didn't know what to do once again, and they were like, let's just throw this in randomly.
Yeah, it was just like a filler episode.
Yep, it was bad because there's been so many filler episodes in season 5 so far. That's why they're all boring. Like, think
Yeah.
about it. By now, they should have been canceled because this is bad as season 5. You can't go from season 3 and 4 to this.
Hmm. Well, I did recognize the guy who played Joey's mugger. His name is Sam Ball. I noticed him from 13 Going on 30 because he played Carlson, aka Jenna's hockey player boyfriend in that movie.
Hmm.
Have you seen that movie?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, anybody else who knows that movie probably recognized him. We didn't have the beard like that in the movie, so I only recognized his voice first until I looked him up. So but that's definitely him. So then I think the best and worst are probably the easiest, but
Well, so high and low first.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, high and low first.
My high was when he got hit by the car.
Yeah, me too.
My low was everything else Joey was doing.
Yeah, everything that led up to that point. Yeah.
Like, obviously the big low was when he put her at gunpoint
Mm-hmm.
and stole from her. But then
Mm-hmm.
I also didn't like everything else Joey was doing. Like, go home.
Yeah.
Remember you said you wanted to go
Mm-hmm.
home so bad. Then go
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, because she could have, but she went back for her jacket and her money and her cell phone, which I get, but still, that's
No,
when
but
he
I'm
woke
saying
up.
at the hospital. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
she needed to go home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, she was
And
bothering me.
yeah, I wonder how long this lasted too, because I feel like somebody should have been suspicious of where she was by now, besides for Wilder at least. Like Wilder didn't call her
Yeah.
back, when she didn't show up. He could have, he should have, but he
Well,
didn't.
we don't know. We'll find out next episode.
Yeah, and then rating
Rate this a 4. It was bad.
5. Yeah.
Nothing happened. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nothing. It was just bad.
Yeah.
Um, my best and worst. The best, Joey, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then the worst, the mugger.
Yeah. Worse for me is the Mugger guy too, and then Joey's the best just because she was being nice to all of them when she didn't have to. She just had that kind of heart.
Like, let me be honest. There was really no one in the episode.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you can't. This is what I mean is normal shows that have like a mugging or something,
Mm-hmm.
they at the end or something, they have everybody there.
Yeah.
that support. It's just
Hmm.
Joey through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that don't like Joey. So it's like,
Hmm.
you can't put her as the only one in the episode.
Yeah. So I didn't think it would last this long either. That'd be like maybe 5, 10 minutes of the episode. Then after that, be
Yeah,
everybody like surrounding Joey, like being
right.
there
And
for her.
helping her. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Checking up on her. Yeah.
Like normal other shows. Yep.
Yeah. But it didn't. And then finishing up the next episode is episode 16. It's a lonely place.
Like this was a
So,
lonely episode.
hmm,
All right.
yep.
Thanks for listening.
Yep. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would really appreciate it.